got this special book from a country called Iceland, which you can guess it is a pretty cold country. One of the special birds over there is called a puffin, and this is a book about a baby puffin, a puffling, the little puffling. The little puffling. I am a puffin from MissM. Not long ago I was a little puffling that hoped to grow up and be called a priest, like my dad. Adult puffins in Iceland are called priests. I was born in a deep dark burrow that Mum and Dad worked together to dig many years ago. No other puffin dared to come into our burrow. I was not actually born in the same way as you human children, because I came out of an egg that my mother laid. She sat on her egg and kept it warm with her soft feathers until I'd grown so big that there was no more room for me inside. So I peeked a hole through the shell with my bill and pushed my way out. I was a real weakling at first, wet through and almost featherless. I was only 2 or 3 days old when I'd grown all these fine, warm clothes, a fur coat, which in puffin language is called down. All you could see of me through the down were my eyes and bill. I was a very happy growing up. Mum and Dad looked after me very well. I was never hungry, so I quickly grew out of my down. I then became the proud owner of another sort of clothes that we puffins call feathers. These are just like the clothes Mum and Dad wear, except they are a different colour. When I am fully grown, my clothes and bill will be exactly the same as theirs. I first ventured out of my burrow to meet the neighbours when I was around 4 to 5 weeks old. However, I didn't dare go out until it was starting to get dark. Mum had warned me about all sorts of fierce, predatory birds that would eat little pufflings if they caught them. I began to exercise my wings every evening as my flying feathers had started to grow. There is one thing I really must tell you. Around this time I experienced my first great sorrow of my life. My mother told me that I was now so grown up I would have to look after myself. She said she had to go away and stop bringing me food. Of course I started to sob. Tears flowed, and I begged her not to leave me. Mum tried to comfort me and said that this was what life was like for our little pufflings. She too clearly remembered how sad she had been when her own mother had left her, but she had understood the reason later. Every cloud has a silver lining, my love, said Mum. Then she kissed me and flew away. I cried myself to sleep that night, but Mum's words proved to me true. I gradually forgot my sadness. It was one night after your August festival that I took flight and headed towards the strange lights I saw before me. I was very curious when I drew near to the town and also rather tired. I chose the brightest places with most lights to land on. I had never seen such splendour. I honestly thought I was in heaven. Curiosity kept me going. I wanted to see everything. I enjoyed looking in shops' windows the most. There were so many interesting things in them. I saw myself reflected in the glass and didn't realise who it was at first. In one window I saw many birds. They stood motionless like fossils and didn't answer my calls, not even the grown-ups. I thought they were extremely rude and began to tell them off, forgetting to be cautious. Before I knew what was happening, a terrible monster roared up to me. with eyes shining so brightly that I was completely blinded and stopped, petrified. I closed my eyes and waited to die, but then something strange happened. Some beings darted out of the beast and approached me. One of them took me in her arms, and I felt the heart of her body warming me. All at once, everything was perfectly clear to me. These creatures were just human children and my friends, little rescuers who tried to find all the Pufflings lost in this man-made maze. The monster I had been so terrified of was just a car and belonging to my friend's father. My mother had told me she and many other Pufflings had been rescued this way and then returned to sea. I was happy once more and put all my trust in these friends of mine. The next day they took me and all the other Pufflings they had found to a sandy bay called Cuff. They chose this place to release us because no predatory birds lived there. Now, we Pufflings keep together in our group. We practice flying and build up our strength for the long flight to warmer lands. There we will spend the winter growing into adults before we turn home to MissM.